Hello everybody, it is Betting Weekly Game Bet Match. It's the final 1000 of 2025. It's the tournament over in Paris. I am Nigel Seeley, and joining me from the beautiful city of Paris is Sean Calvert. Before I introduce you to Sean, he's a senior ATP Tour handicapper. Please hit the subscribe button, hit the like, give us a comment. We're coming to the end of the season. Let us know your thoughts on what's been a long, long season and what your thoughts are of this 1000th event here in Paris. Sean, good morning to you. How are you? How is Paris treating you?
Good morning. It's treating me like it usually does. Terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had hoped it was going to be a bit better in this. That's the only reason I've come, actually, because it's a new tournament. As people will probably remember, I'm not a massive fan of BSC, and I thought it might be a little bit better, coming to a brand new venue, and I suppose in some ways it is, but they really do treat you. They treat you like dirt here. They really do. It's absolutely shocking the way this tournament is actually organised. I mean, how much do you want me to do on this? I could do half an hour, probably.
Not long, because I've got to get a train, but give us a couple of minutes. I'll have a cup of coffee and sit back.
There's a lot of problems. Obviously, they've got, basically, it's now one massive arena, which is split into little dividing sections by these huge floor-to-ceiling curtains. They must have cost a lot, by the way. Must be like 30, 40 metres high. It's so high, this venue. So all the courts are on the same level, but they're just split with these dividers. So obviously you can hear everything from all the courts. They're very, very close. That's not a problem. But the seating, obviously on court central, you've got reserved seating. You sit where you're supposed to sit. Fine, no problem. You go into the outside courts 1, courts 2, court 3 is tiny. It's all unreserved seating. So to my mind, unreserved seating is unreserved seating. You can sit where you want, but no, they're not having that in La Défense. They've got all these little people I say little people, they're all quite young. I feel a bit sorry for them in a way, in these high-vis orange jackets that are making you sit where they want you to sit, which is basically right down the front, so that the cameras on TV can't see any empty seats. And obviously lots of people they don't tell you that until you sit in the seats. And then there was loads of people dotted around. I like to sit kind of away from the general public as far away as I can. Squirrel myself in a corner. I was doing that, and there was loads of other people doing that as well, because it's the obvious thing to do. But anyone that did that got a visit from these orange jacketed people, and if you resisted and said, "Look, it's unreserved seating," then they sent the big boys in, the guys with the flak jackets and all this sort of stuff to move you to where they wanted to sit you, which is absolutely bizarre, because there must be like 300 or 400 seats empty behind where you can sit, but they said that they don't want you sitting there until it gets busier. And that it's not a request, it's an order. So anyone that resisted, this guy in front of me, this American guy, he was having none of it. He was just he was thinking the same as me, and he was just saying, "Look, what's going on here?" Eventually, they sent the heavy mob in, and they physically shifted him out. He was ranting and raving and all this stuff. I didn't have to, because he did it for me. He was literally sat right in front of me. Well, obviously not next to me, but a few rows away. So yeah, it was all kicking off. And the other thing you can't do, and I've never known this at any tournament, I don't know whether you have, I can't recall any tournament where they once you're in, they don't let you out. If you go out, you're done. You aren't coming back in. You have to buy another ticket. I've never heard of that. Every tournament I've ever been to, they either blip you in and out on your barcode, or they give you a wristband or something. Not here. I asked the stewards at the start, and because there's a bit of a language barrier, I thought maybe they don't really understand. Went to the help desk. A very nice lady, spoke perfect English. She said, I don't understand it either. Once you go out, you're out, because they can't be bothered to blip you out and blip you back in. So you're done. So that's it. That's it so far. There's a few other issues. We haven't got time.
People might be looking at me thinking, why am I dressed in this smart way? So I'm on my way to the French embassy to see if I can get to plead if we can get him to get in the seats and let out of the venue here in Paris. But anyway,
I think I'll be lucky to escape this country, to be honest, at the minute. But
good luck with your remaining few days over in Paris. But let's have a look. I mean, the bets went well yesterday. When Petri Perregard first set tiebreak, done, nice and easy. Nice
a little bit. Well, unlucky with Popper in. Bublik won, but he was terrible. Bublik. He won 29. Wasn't terrible, obviously. He won the match, but he was 29% of second serve points won Bublik that day, and he won in straight sets. Crazy. We should probably talk about the conditions first before then.
Well, that was it. Yep, that was my next question.
Okay,
sorry. I saw you make a tweet yesterday. If you aren't following Sean on our socials, @BecauseWeWin, you seem to think that it was a little bit slower than you initially thought? A lot of people have said on social media that who people who have been watching on the TV thought it was quite quick, but you believe that it's a little bit slower.
They thought it was quick.
So yeah, I mean, if you look at some of the comments that we had, people were saying just on the eye test, it looks fast here.
No, definitely not. I don't know what they're looking at. That not to me, not to what the players have said, not to what I've seen, not even what the tournament director has said. So I'm not sure where they're getting that from. It doesn't strike me as anything other than slow and kind of like a pudding of a court to me. Obviously, it's moved to this brand new venue. We didn't know the conditions when we recorded the show. We also recorded the show before Humbert had played his Basel final, which is unfortunate. He pulled out. That one should be a void. But yeah, I mean, last year they made it very fast, 46 CPI. This year, the tournament director, I think is Cedric Pierline, he said, let me get his quote. He said, we've slowed it down this year because of the feedback they got last year when it was quick. I mean, that's complete nonsense. What they've done here is they've seen Sinner number 1, Alcaraz number 2, or whatever, and they've gone, that's what we want. And we know that Alcaraz much prefers a slower court. We know that. So he won Rotterdam in a court that was basically tailor made for him, and they've done the same thing here. They've said we want Alcaraz Sinner in the final. We're not bothered about the fact that all the French players, pretty much all bar maybe Moutet, would want it super fast. We're going for slow. I mean, it's kind of similar to Rotterdam. It's kind of slow, kind of spongy. I mean, you saw in Petchy Pericard last night. He got broken numerous times, 6-1. Let's go with what Bublik's got to say. He said the courts are slow, the ceilings are high, there's a lot of space, so it's a completely strange feeling on court. For me, it's way slower and bouncier. It's kind of spongy. It's not good conditions. It's not what I want. It's kind of depressing because all these tournament directors now are just saying, right, well, we want Sinner and Alcaraz. We're not interested in anybody else or anything else. So we're going to make the court perfect, particularly for Alcaraz. Not so much for Sinner, but particularly for Alcaraz so that he can make the final. That's what they want, and it's kind of sad, but that's how it is.
It's a bit sad. You make me sad listening to you.
Yeah, I always do.
I thought you'd be happy. I thought you'd be happy over there. Away.
I hate Paris.
It was a nightmare for you with the kids at the weekend, with Lagan at the weekend, all the kids around the house. I thought you might have, you found an Irish bar. I thought you might find a Magnus.
That's good.
I thought you found a couple of winners. You'd be happy. No,
that's good. I am happy, but
I woke up in a good mood before I spoke to you, Sean.
You don't want to be talking to me if you want to be going out and having fun. That's for sure.
Okay. Well, anyway, let's have a look at the matches tomorrow. And the world number 1 is in. Is he world number 1? Is he number 1 still? Yeah,
2, I think, isn't he?
Is he number 2? Is he? I mean, they're so dominant. It
doesn't really matter, but yes.
Yeah, Jannik Sinner is in action against Zizou Bergs. Jannik Sinner is an unbettable favourite at Bet Rivers. Minus 10,000. You put $10,000 on to win 100. Kind of bet that Sean Calvert will definitely be having. Zizou Bergs is 1,700. Spread is a massive 6.5 here, and a total very low, 17.5. Loads of different markets available on the Bet Rivers app on this match. Remember, it's a nice early start. I think it starts around at 6 o'clock. It does, 6 o'clock Eastern time for these matches. These are all on a Thursday, remember. So, Wednesday, sorry. Make sure you get on nice and early. We record this on Tuesday morning, so you have plenty of time to get on. Sinner, they want it. Cedric Pierline wants it. The Paris fans want it. Sean Calvert want Sinner.
No.
To progress for no,
I don't. I want this tournament to fail dramatically.
Yep.
That's
Vasharovi, Rinderknech final part.
They might be playing each other in next round, by the way. If Vasharo wins today, we'll be playing Rinderknech again. So, yeah, that would be interesting. Yeah, I'd love something. That's too good because that's too French. I'd want something like Kecmanovic, obviously.
Cam Norrie v Kecmanovic.
And yeah, that would be absolutely brilliant. I would love that. It would be what they deserve, frankly. I'm taking a chance on Bergs here. I know some people are going to think, are you insane? But 17-1 in these circumstances, it's just crazy. You could sort of maybe see that prize in a Grand Slam, second round or something. Okay, that's a different thing. But Sinner did not look good during that Vienna final. I'm sure people watched it. He was doing his usual hobbling, the hamstring cramping. Shouldn't really have won that final, but it was playing Sasha Zverev, who as usual got terrified with the possibility of beating one of the big guys and decided to let Sinner have it, basically. Okay, it wasn't quite as clear cut as that, but The issue is Sinner's fitness. He did not look fit. He's got Turin in a few weeks, and you just feel like he went the extra mile in Vienna because it's close to where he's from. He's from the very, very far north of Italy, basically the Austrian borders. A lot of friends and family there. Said he wanted to win that tournament, went the extra mile to do so. Now he's had a couple of days. Now it's slow conditions. It's a long season. I just wonder if that motivation is going to be there. You often see a lot of upsets at this tournament over the years, historically. Like Roger Federer only ever made the final here once in his entire career, as did Nadal. Nadal never won it. Federer only won it that one time. And that was because Federer's priority was twofold. It was Basel the week before, his home tournament in his hometown. And then he went to the Tour finals. A lot of the time he didn't even play Paris or played it kind of half-heartedly. This feels like a similar situation with Sinner at the minute. And it just feels like Bergs. This is a chance for Bergs. He loves the big stage. Played well when he faced Alcaraz. All right, he lost, a month or so ago, a few weeks ago. But he's a big stage player. He's got nothing to lose at all. This will appeal to him, I think. And it's all new for Sinner. New venue, new conditions. He's never played well here yet. He's only won one of the 3 matches that he's played here. If we're looking at statistics, obviously you would make Sinner very, very heavy favourite, of course. But, Bergs is decent as well. Last 12 months on indoor hard, 64% win rate, service points won and return points won, total of 103, 85% holds a serve. Okay, you wouldn't think that would be enough to beat a peak Sinner, but the point of this is this a peak Sinner? Is this a motivated Sinner? Bergs is fresh. He had a few weeks off after a good run in Shanghai, quarterfinals I think he got to there, had a few weeks off. Had to go to Brussels because it was his home tournament, exhausted, took the 2 weeks off. I just think you could see a massive upset here. I could be completely wrong, of course, but I think the odds, they're worth taking. I wouldn't bet this in a big tournament with a fresh Sinner, but I just feel like this is a chance. Half a point, 17-1, Bergs to win it. You might get a retirement. Obviously, if set one's complete, you get paid out with Bet Rivers if Sinner retires. So, yeah, I think this is definitely an opportunity. We'll see.
There's lots of markets here if you want to get with Zizou. Bergs obviously spread at 6.5. You see so many players, like Zverev included, getting into winning positions and then just realising who they've got the other side of the net. Total at 17.5. That looks a tempting over as well. Not really much to worry about there. 6-3, 6-3, and you've won. I mean, that's a nice number. 17.5 minus 103. But Sean has gone all in, half a point on Zizou Bergs. I think some of the Magdas over in the Irish bar over there in Paris have gone to his head last night.
I've only had one.
Well, exactly. He's gone to his head last night.
That wasn't even yesterday. It was the day before.
Well, exactly. It's gone to his head. That one beer 48 hours ago, he's gone to his head. Let's move on to our second match. Casper Ruud going to go up against Daniel Altmaier. Casper Ruud is also a player that is struggling with a few injury concerns as well. Altmaier had a big win. He's had a bit of a bad form, but a big win against Marcus Giron in round 1. They have met twice before, once in a couple of challenger events and a futures event. It was one win apiece, both on clay. Casper Ruud is mathematically still got a chance of making the Tour Championships, I think, very remotely.
I think he does, yeah.
Yeah, very remotely. He got beaten in the quarterfinals of Basel by Davidovich Fokina after winning the tournament in Stockholm, but I don't think he's in greatest form. He actually retired in that match against Davidovich Fokina. Altmaier ended a run of 3 successive losses, but 2 of them were against Jannik Sinner, so forgive him for that with the win over Giron here. Again, remember, 6 a.m. Eastern Time these matches start, and you'll be able to watch the matches if you download the Bet Rivers app. You bet on the match, and you'll be able to bet live and watch live with Bet Rivers. Altmaier, can he cause problems for probably not 100% fit Ruud here?
Yeah, these are the 4 matches that we've got for tomorrow. They're not particularly the ones that I've chosen because of the schedule. It is 1 week Masters. It's very difficult to find some time to fit these in, but these are the 4 that we've got. This one's difficult because you're betting on a player or in a match involving a player who's injured or was injured a few days ago. I think he still can qualify for the Tour finals, but he needs a very big result, probably final, semi-final, and then hope that other guys lose early to give himself a chance. It's possible. That was what makes this difficult. He had an Achilles injury a few days ago in Basel, and we're kind of guessing on how fit he is. How much is he prepared to risk to get to Turin? We don't know. We don't know the severity of that injury. Was it one of those where he just felt a little tweak and he just thought, you know what, I'm about done here? Or was it something that could be quite serious. If it's the latter, then you would think that he's not really going to put that much in here at the very end of the season. So it's a question of how much do you want to bet an injured player at minus 295 at the end of the season? Because on form, you would expect Casper Ruud to win this. I saw Altmaier yesterday. That was the match I got kicked out of. Altmaier against Giron, but it was right at the end, so it didn't make any difference. I just feel like the conditions here, I think they will suit Casper Ruud. They're kind of similar-ish to Stockholm in terms of the court pace, from what I can see. Different balls, obviously. Similar court pace. That'll suit both of these guys, actually. If I'd have known it was going to be kind of slow and bouncy, I probably would have taken Altmaier yesterday, but we don't know. We didn't know. That's what makes it difficult. And Ruud's been playing great. This indoor swing so far, 8 wins, just the 1 defeat, which was that retirement. Service points won and return points won, total of 112, and 92% holds of serve. Superb stats. You won't find those stats anywhere outside of Sinner and Alcaraz over the last sort of month or so, whatever. Altmaier, more of a clay guy. Certainly won't mind these conditions, though. Slow, bouncy. That will suit him. I think there's a couple of options here. I could see the first set being competitive. Altmaier's, he's up for this. He was up for it yesterday. He's got used to the conditions. These are very new, obviously, to Casper Ruud, new to everybody that obviously hasn't played here before. There's a couple of options. Over 10.5 games, I think, is interesting, given how often Ruud's holding serve. Yet he hasn't played here in these conditions. Altmaier has. That would be interesting. Over 10.5 at plus $2 with Bet Rivers, or just punt Altmaier based on Ruud's fitness doubts. As I said, a retirement after the first set will pay out with Bet Rivers. That's plus 225. Those are probably the two I would be focusing on in this particular match tomorrow.
Yeah, getting with the dog Altmaier up against Casper Ruud, taking a big chance on the injury updates for the Norwegian. Let's move on. Before we move on, let me tell you something. Make sure you subscribe to our newsletter. I keep saying this every time when we get to the halfway stage of this shows, but we need more of you to subscribe to it. Lots of tennis content on it, on the newsletter. There's 2 tennis picks this week, which are exclusive on there, and also some soccer content as well. So make sure you subscribe to it. It's free. It's bettingweeklystudios.com. You get the newsletter on a Monday, and you get the Insider on a Friday. Lots more stuff coming your way as well over the next few weeks, but it's pretty good, and it's free as well, exclusive content, so you can keep abreast of everything that's going on here on the Betting Weekly Studios. Now we have an all-Italian affair in our next match, the second round, between Lorenzo Musetti and the Lorenzo Sonego. The battle of the Lorenzos. Minus 250 for Musetti, plus 195 Sonego. Spread is 3.5. Total here is 22.5. 50-odd different markets available on this all-Italian affair with Bet Rivers by the time they come to the court around about 6 a.m. tomorrow. The only thing I will comfortably say on this match, Sean, is a Lorenzo will win it.
You would think, unless something really weird happens. They both withdraw or something.
Yeah, well, knowing my luck, the way my luck's going, that will happen.
Doesn't seem that likely, does it? I mean, Sonego had a good win yesterday here, but we shouldn't really read too much into that because he played a Sebastian Korda that, yet again, wasn't fit for purpose. I think it was a leg issue this time with Korda. He just doesn't seem to be able to keep that body fit at all these days. And, it looks a good win for Sonego, but and it was, I suppose, in terms of the result, but form lines, you shouldn't read much into it because of Korda's injury. Musetti, is another one that needs to win to make sure that he'll be into in, and you would think his motivation is surely higher than that of Casper Ruud. Obviously, Ruud would probably want to make it if he could. Musetti, you would think, and everything that he said is desperate to make it there, obviously, for obvious reasons, being in his home country. And in the conditions that I believe are prevailing here, i.e. slow and bouncy, it really should be too much for Sonego, who you'd think would want it slicker, quicker than what we've got here. They did meet on indoor hard in Vienna a year ago, and Musetti was an absolutely dominant winner that day. Some of the most dominant stats I've seen for a single match, 130-70 in terms of service points won and return points won totals that day. Musetti dominant in every way, 100% holds the serve, 88% second serve points won versus 37% for Sonego. Sonego winning just 16% of return points that day. And you've got to also bear in mind that Musetti's first serve is much more of a weapon now than it was 12 months ago. So if anything, you would think Musetti would be potentially, well, probably won't. He'll struggle to be a more comfortable winner than he was that day, but you feel like it would be a similar sort of thing. The only thing I could see potentially stopping Musetti here is accumulated fatigue. He's played a lot of matches in recent times to try and get that spot in Turin. That's the only thing I could think maybe would let him down here. But on the other side of the coin, you wouldn't think he'd want many long matches. You think he'd want just to get 2-3 wins under his belt here, make sure all that you're in position. 2-3 straight sets wins, set him up nicely. I can't see much past the Musetti win here. -3.5 games is a touch of plus money, plus 102 with Bet Rivers. I think that's probably where I'd go here. I can't see Sonego causing an upset here unless Musetti is struggling physically.
Yep. So no shock in that match. Will there be a shock in our final match? Is the match between Francisco Cerundolo and Miomir Kecmanovic. Probably the best one really of the four. It shows you how bad the four are. This is probably the best one to talk about really. We do have a little bit of data on it. We have some previous head-to-heads between the two of them. But Francisco Cerundolo is -210. Kecmanovic is +165. The spread is 2.5. Total here is 22.5. 2 times they met, and both times it has been won by Cerundolo. Both times over in South America. One in Buenos Aires on the clay, and one in Rio de Janeiro also on the clay. And both of them in 2022. And all of them, both those matches actually went the distance into a final set. So looking at the head-to-heads, looking at the way these two match up, the over 22.5 could be of interest for some bettors here at -108 if you are a lover of the head-to-heads. If you look at the totals, both of them come in. Both of them had fairly decent wins. Cerundolo beat Zuma and Kecmanovic beat Kovacevic in 3 sets. Kecmanovic hasn't shown great form in his last 2 matches, but he's only won 1 of his last 5 coming into this tournament. So he is a little bit out of a form, and the early money has come for Cerundolo here to make him a -210 favourite.
Yeah, I can see why Cerundolo's favourite. You would expect him to win this, but neither of these are exactly what you would call reliable performers, particularly Kecmanovic. Cerundolo also, he's somewhat moody. If he's into it, he's into it. If he's not, he's not, and that's what makes this extremely difficult to bet on. He should be well suited by the conditions. You would think they would suit him. Slow bouncy, you would think it would suit him more than Kecmanovic, but both of these players can play in quick conditions as well. Cerundolo is no slouch in quick conditions, that's for sure. He's won grass court titles. He's played very well in sort of quick hard courts before. The head-to-head is a clay head-to-head. Not sure it's like massively relevant, but it is still relevant. It certainly will be in the mind of Kecmanovic. And just for the record, the stats for that, the 2 matches that they've played on clay, 106-94 in favour of Cerundolo in terms of service points won and return points won totals. The interesting thing on this, Cerundolo winning 44% of return points and Kecmanovic only holding serve 61% of the time. It was on clay, so you would expect more of a return-oriented set of statistics because it was on clay, but this, isn't, as I say, isn't quick. It is slow and bouncy, so not clay, but similarly slow conditions. I mean, hard court would probably suit Kecmanovic better. You would think he'd have a better chance of beating Cerundolo on hard than on clay, but his record, he's very uninspiring, Kecmanovic. He's a hard guy to kind of get behind, not only because of his inconsistency. His on-court manner is very kind of surly. He's not. I can't imagine he's got a massive fan base, Kecmanovic, outside of Serbia. He's a very hard guy to kind of get behind, as I say. His record in Paris isn't that great either. In fact, it's pretty poor. 38% win rate here. Service points won and return points won total of 96. Just about scraped to win yesterday against Kovacevic. Final set tiebreak. Cerundolo's record here is better. Well, his win rate is a lot better, 63%. And a service points won and return points won total of 98. So winning 63% of the matches with a total of 98, you're doing pretty well. And if we look at what these guys have done on indoor hard since the start of 2023, Kecmanovic, again, quite unusual set of stats, but in some ways quite typical for Kecmanovic, the player that he is. He's only got a 43% win rate on indoor hard since the start of 2023, but his service points won and return points won total is 101, which suggests, yet again, that Kecmanovic is losing matches that he should be winning. And Cerundolo's is the opposite. He's got a 60% win rate, and his total's 99. So it's once again, the more you delve into Kecmanovic's stats, the more you find that his stats are all right, that they're pretty good, but he tends to not get over the line in matches. Kecmanovic has actually lost now 13 of the last 17 Masters 1000 matches that have gone to a deciding set. And that's always been his problem. You know, he did manage to pull one out yesterday against Kovacevic, but they are very, very few and far between when you see Kecmanovic winning a tight one in a final set. They almost always go the other way, as they've done against Cerundolo in the past. Given also that these two tend to have a lot of ups and downs in their level during matches, Cerundolo can look $1 million and then he's gone completely off. Then he's found his level again. That happens a lot with Cerundolo. Also happens with Kecmanovic. I think you've got to be looking at either the over total games here, like you said, Nige, over 22.5, or perhaps a play that is more interesting in terms of the price is, again, Cerundolo to win it 2-1 on the basis that, you know, Kecmanovic, the statistics show you he doesn't tend to get over the line when it does go to a deciding set. Most of the time he loses. So I'd probably take a little bit of a chance on the Cerundolo 2-1 here. That's a plus 290 chance with Bet Rivers.
Yeah, plus 290 for the 2-1. Over 22.5 is minus 108, depending on how you want to play it. There's a couple of leans there in our final match. There's 4 matches previewed for you for tomorrow's second round action at the Paris Masters. And obviously, you can follow them all on Bet Rivers. And remember, if you do have a bet on the Bet Rivers app, you can watch live and bet live. The matches will be streamed to your tablet, your mobile device. Please hit the subscribe button. As I said, lots of content coming your way on the channel. Betting Weekly live, 11 o'clock Eastern time, all the way through this week, Monday through to Friday. And we go across to the stateside where the World Series is reaching its climax. Betting Weekly live there. US version with Mike and Doug. That is 5 o'clock Eastern time every day, as well as Betting Weekly Tennis live Monday through to Wednesday with all the other guys on the Betting Weekly Tennis team. Also, you can follow Sean over in Paris, watching moan and groan that he can't go out for a sandwich, he can't go out for a Magnus. He's refused to sit in the seat he wants to do. If you wake up this morning, you think, you know, life's bad and, you know, I'm having a really bad day, just follow our Instagram account at Because We Win. It'll cheer you right up. So make sure you subscribe to that as well. And across all the socials at Because We Win. If you're wondering why I'm dressed like this, I'm off to lunch today for a lunch with, I'm supposed to be going to lunch with Barry Hearn. Well, he's going to be there, the big sports promoter over in the UK.
Very well.
And Martin O'Neill was supposed to come. And yesterday, Martin O'Neill has just been announced as the interim manager at Celtic Football Club. So I was so disappointed because I wanted to ask me loads of questions about Hearts and the dojo. But this is quite funny and it's quite encouraging for anybody who watches our Betting Weekly dojo. 7 hours before he got the job, he was live on TalkSport and he turned around in an interview and he turned around and said he thinks that Hearts will win the league. It's too much for Celtic and Rangers to catch up. 7 hours later.
He's the
manager of Celtic. So that's quite encouraging. Anyway, That's it for today. We will be back tomorrow. Sean, enjoy the tennis. Try to enjoy the tennis. Just show, you know, have a couple of glasses of Chablis. A couple of glasses of Chablis. A nice sort of croque monsieur.
I'm not giving these people any money. That's for sure.
You don't give anyone any money. You don't give anyone any money. These people, don't worry about that. Anyway, enjoy your tennis. Good luck with your bets today. And hopefully with Zizou Bergs, 16-1. I'll tell you what, if that wins, will there be lots of ZZ top songs with Zizou Bergs' face being mocked up?
I'll have a Chablis if that wins.
We'll have a Chablis on that. We'll have more than that. Take care. Have a good day. And we'll speak to you all again tomorrow.